It's a big day for the electric two-wheeler scene in India because a Japanese manufacturer has finally joined in, and it's not just any Japanese manufacturer, it's Honda. And they haven't come with just one, but they've got two new electric scooters. One has removable, swappable batteries and the other one has a fixed battery. Today we're going to take you through both these scooters and tell you what they're all about and what you should be looking out for. This is the first of the new electric Activas. It's called the Activa E. This is the more premium model. It comes with removable batteries. We'll show you that in a bit. But let's talk about the way it looks first. Now, this product is based around the CUV-E that was shown off at EICMA. It's really quite close. It has been slightly restyled for India, but very similar. Now, you get a full LED headlamp at the front. That's quite a smart looking thing, quite modern, and a nice looking DRL out here. Rounded body panels, it's 12-inch wheels at both ends and with a telescopic fork. If you go for the Activa E, you will get a disc brake at the front as well. Moving over to the rider's point of view, you get a new 7-inch TFT display. There are two versions of the Activa E. The higher version gets the larger display and a whole bunch more connected features, the kind of stuff we expect to see in EVs these days. Or you get a simpler version with a 5-inch TFT display. It also gets new switchgear around here. This is an accessory, but the scooter will come with these pockets up front. It will have this charging port out here, and it, like most of the current Honda scooters, it has a keyless system as well. So you just keep the key on you and use this system to start the scooter out there. Moving further back, you've got again a sleek looking tail section. It's a nice LED light. It's a good modern looking thing. This extension out here looks good. Practical looking grab handle, and the seat is quite large and spacious. It's quite flat. Let me show you what the riding position is like. Not bad. Most scooters have this issue with me, so it's nothing very different on the Activa E, but it seems comfortable and there seems to be good space at the back as well. Now let's show you the big part of the scooter, which is the swappable aspect. So you have two batteries that reside under the seat. It's quite simple. You just unlock them, lift them out, put them into the charging station and put fresh batteries back in there. There are a couple of downsides with this system. The first is that storage space is pretty much negligible, maybe 3-4 liters out there, but there is no boot storage on this scooter. The second is that each of these battery packs weighs 10.3 or 10.5 kilos, and you cannot charge this scooter at home. You have to rely on the Honda charging network. You have to go to one of those stations and swap it out every time. So this is how the swapping system is going to work on the Activa E. Basically, these stations are going to be set up all over the city. At the moment, they're only in Bengaluru, about 80 units. The company has been setting them up over the last 2 years. Honda tells us they will also come to Delhi and Mumbai, and then phase 2 will begin after that. We have no timeline for what phase 2 is. So the Activa E will only be available in those cities. Now, that scooter can only be run with swappable batteries. You cannot charge it at home. How do you do that? You come to one of these stations, you pull out, you'll need your card. Put your card out there, it checks your account, and then you put the batteries back in. Okay, you put your batteries in, and then you will get two freshly charged batteries after that. These are 1.5 kilowatt hour battery packs each. Honda tells us that with 3 kilowatt hours of combined battery pack, you will get a range of about 100 kilometers. That's probably in eco mode. There are 3 modes. Real world will probably be a little lower than that, but effectively every 80 or so kilometers you're going to have to do this, which I think is a bit of a miss. It would have been much better if I could charge this at home. As for performance, you get a swing arm mounted motor. Honda tells us that this is a 6 kilowatt motor, 6 kilowatts of peak output. They say top speed is about 80 kilometers per hour, which honestly for an electric scooter is more than enough. And this level of performance should be quite similar to Honda's 110s and maybe even some of their 125s. So performance is definitely not segment leading, but not bad at all either. Beyond that, we don't have prices for these scooters, but the thing to consider is that you are not buying the scooter with the batteries installed. The battery is a service. It comes as battery as a service, or BaaS as they refer to it. So we don't know what the pricing is going to be. Honda's not giving us any hints. Knowing Honda, it will be a little on the premium end, but where it is, is a really interesting question. Now, you've got electric scooters from some really cheap Ola starting at 50-60,000 rupees and going up to above 1.5 lakhs for the top Aethers. Where this fits in that system, considering that you're not paying for the battery, you will be paying a subscription service for those batteries. It really is something we need to look out for. Prices will be announced in January, bookings also open in January, and Honda tells us that deliveries will begin in Feb. That is the Activa E. Now let's go take a look at the more cost-effective QC1. So if the Activa E with its swappable batteries is not for you, you just want a conventional scooter, well, Honda has that in the QC1. Now this is intended to be a much simpler scooter, and you'll see that not just in the features or the visuals, but also in the specifications. Now, while this QC1 does look quite similar to the Activa E, especially at the front, it's got a very similar headlamp, pretty much the same thing. It doesn't have the DRL, but visually it's not going to be easy to distinguish. There are quite a few differences. For one, you only get this with a drum brake, while the Activa E comes with a disc brake at the front. The second thing is the chassis is quite different on the back as well. You have twin shock absorbers, one on either side, where the Activa E has only one shock absorber on this side. Then there's a difference in the motor. The Activa E has a swing arm mounted motor. This is a much simpler hub motor that you find in less performing EVs. On that theme, this is not a very quick performing EV. Top speed is only 50 kilometers per hour. It has a 1.8 kilowatt motor, and gradability is less than 10 degrees. So this is not going to be a very quick EV by any stretch of the imagination, and definitely not up there with the competition from TVS, Hero, Ather and the likes. What Honda is giving you instead is no removable batteries, but you do have a good boot. This is a 26-liter boot. You can fit a helmet in there. It gets quite deep down there, and there's space at the back as well. That's what it looks like underneath, and the seat looks and feels more or less the same as the Activa. Let's see how the riding position is. This floorboard does feel a little higher, probably because of the way they put the batteries in, but in general, again, this feels pretty conventional, pretty comfortable for a scooter. Since this scooter has a fixed battery pack, you get to charge it at home. The charging port is out here, and like the performance, the charging time is also quite conservative. Honda says 0 to 80% in 4.5 hours. For such a small battery pack, that is quite slow. Now let me show you what the display is like. So this is a much simpler display on the QC1. It's a negative LCD display, and that keeps this as a much simpler scooter. There's also no keyless function out here. That is a basic key, and for many reasons it's nice to have a simple practical electric scooter. Not everyone wants gadgets. Just like that, prices will be announced in Jan, bookings open in Jan, deliveries start in Feb. Based on what there is out here, this scooter needs to be really aggressively priced if it's going to succeed, given the performance on offer. I don't think there's an issue with spec or looks or anything like that, but I feel like people may find this performance to be a little lacking. So you go for the Activa E with the swappable batteries, the good performance but no storage space, or you go with the QC1, which has a storage space but doesn't have the performance. In terms of availability, this will be widespread across the country, not like the Activa E in just 3 cities. Honda says it will be available through 50% of the EV market. As far as I understand, that means multiple cities across the country, so availability will not be an issue. That is the QC1. Before we end, let me just take you through a walk around the rear, because we didn't show you the back of the scooter. The design at the rear is again different. It's got a simpler looking LED light. That's what it's like lit up. That's what it's like with the brake clamp on. Simple but still a nice looking scooter, and yeah, that's pretty much what we can share with you today.